Paul Valley had just got off work at Wayne Enterprises. He has been very grateful to Bruce for getting him this job. Being a security guard isn't exactly what he had pictured himself doing after college, but leaving the Order of St. Dumas limited his options. So he was going to stick with this job until he figured out a new life for himself. He got in his car, then froze, because he sensed a presence. Catwoman, it's just me. Jean-Paul looked in the backseat to see Catwoman sitting there. Jean-Paul, oh, it's you. Catwoman, we have a favor to ask of you. Can we talk? Not long after that, Bane broke Batman's back in the Batcave. As Bane carried Batman and loaded him into his Hummer, someone just happened to look out his window just in time to see Batman endanger him. Bruce quickly got dressed and quietly uncovered his Robin cycle. Robin caught up to Bane's Hummer, then followed from a distance with his lights off so as not to give away his presence. Only until he was certain he could track Batman did he call Oracle. Oracle, Robin, what's going on? Batman's tracking came up on my screen and I can't reach him or Alfred. Robin, someone broke into the manor. I saw him take Batman out of the house and now I'm in pursuit. Oracle's heart raced. Who took him? Robin, it looked like Bane. Oracle, keep following at a distance. Selina asked me to keep his tracker on in case he tried to leave, but now gotta use it to save him. I'll contact her now. Catwoman, so he agreed to ask someone to take over for him temporarily while he gets the rest he needs. He chose you. He was going to tell you himself, but tonight's activities were too much on his body. We need you to step in as Batman. Oracle, Catwoman. We have a code red. Bane as Batman. Catwoman's heart sank. Where is he? Oracle told her how Robin was in pursuit and that she was tracking Batman. Catwoman, stay on him. I'm on my way. She turned to Jean-Paul. Drive. Bane finally stopped in the center of Gotham City. Batman was in a lot of pain now. The shock was starting to wear off. He had been in and out of consciousness. When awake, he tried to keep still as possible so as not to damage his back more than it was now. Bane exited the Hummer and the people backed away out of fear. They watched as Bane grabbed Batman, then climbed high above them and watched in horror. Robin arrived and pushed us way past the crowd and paused to see Bane hold Batman above him. Bane, behold Gotham, I'm Bane, and I have broken the Batman. You have my permission to weep over your fallen knight. He tossed Batman down but was caught by Robin, who had fired a grapnel that carried him fast enough to catch Batman. The people backed away as Robin landed and stood protecting Batman. Bane clapped and laughed at Robin. Bane, well done boy, but the damage is done. Catwoman and a masked Jean-Paul arrived just as Bane finished taunting Robin. Catwoman gathered Batman in her arms. Robin, we got to get him out of here. Jean-Paul, Catwoman, get in the back of my car, put down the passenger seat, and get ready for us. Catwoman did as she was told, and soon Batman was in the car with Catwoman. Jean-Paul glared up at Bane just before getting into his car and drove away. Robin followed close behind as they raced for the Batcave. Bane watched them leave and laughed. Gotham was his now, for the Batman was broken. Catwoman fretted over Batman. What happened? Batman, Bane knows, came to Manor. Alfred. Catwoman, Oracle? Oracle, I just got hold of Alfred. He's alright, but Bane made a mess of the manor. How is he? Catwoman, we're on our way to the cave. He's hurt and I don't know how badly. Tell Alfred if he can get everything ready. Alfred indeed had everything ready in the med wing of the cave. Even a stretcher lay waiting before they pulled in. Batman was still trying to tell them more, but he was exhausted and his body had been through trauma. Batman, I'm sorry, my fault. Catwoman, try to relax. And Alfred is going to take care of you. They carefully got him onto the stretcher and into the med wing. His torn uniform was removed, his cuts were tended to, and Bruce was now sleeping deeply. The results of the scans came out and it was Bat-Robin. Will he be alright? Alfred looked over at the man he knew since the day he was born, and a tear ran down his cheek seeing his boy like this. Alfred, Master Bruce will live, but he has multiple bone fractures. His ribs contain small fractures. His left leg near his ankle also contains small fractures. Then there is back. His back is broken. It appears to have cracks in 2 places on his lower lumbar. Most of the wings on the lower lumbar have cracks in them. Everyone was silent. Selena looked down on Bruce, squeezing his hand. Jean-Paul, that doesn't mean he's paralyzed, does it? Alfred shook his head. No, from what I've been able to read on, it's possible he will walk again, but if that disc slips he will need surgery, and I don't feel capable to do such a surgery. Robin, we're going to need help. Are there any doctors we can bring in? Alfred, yes, Dr. Leslie Tompkins. She has helped before. However, Master Bruce will be out of commission for a while. People will need to know what happened to Bruce Wayne. Robin, we could stage a car accident, couldn't we? That would explain his injuries. Jean-Paul, sure, but we should probably stage this later in a few days. That may help protect Batman's identity. Oracle, I've told Leslie what happened. She's on her way. She instructed Bruce be kept on his back until she arrives. Alfred, understood. I better go upstairs and start cleaning while I wait for Dr. Tompkins. He hesitated and didn't want to leave Bruce, but Selena lay a hand on his shoulder. Selena, I'll be right here. I'm not leaving his side. Alfred nodded and went upstairs. She turned to Tim. You better run off home and get some sleep. We'll let you know what's going on in the morning. As for you, Jean-Paul, plan on staying here. Alfred can show you a guest room later. For now, Jean-Paul, I think I'll go assist Alfred. He may need help. Later, Leslie came and examined him for herself. She put the brace on Bruce's leg, and with help from Selena and Alfred, she put Bruce into a back brace. Leslie, I realize it doesn't seem like it now, but you got lucky. Any higher and you'd be paralyzed from the waist down. However, with this back injury, you can recover and walk again. I fear you might need surgery, but I'd like to see if your body heals it instead. So keep your back straight for the next 3 months. Keep that leg brace on for 2 weeks. Don't try to stand on that leg. In fact, stand as little as possible until that leg is out of the brace. Bruce was awake now. Thank you, Leslie. Leslie, and get plenty of rest. No more of this 2 to 4 hours of sleep I've been told about. If you ever want a chance to get back out there, rest and do everything I just told you. Bruce nodded. He knew he had made a mistake. He had allowed the job to take over. Had it been anyone else, he would have put an end to it, but for himself he allowed this to happen. Bane might have released the Arkham prisoners and broken his back, but the fact was that he had allowed himself to become so exhausted that he couldn't defend himself properly. Leslie left and promised to return in a few days to help them with faking the car accident. Then it was just Selena, Alfred, Tim and Barbara in the cave with him. He looked at all of them before speaking. Bruce, I owe all of you an apology. Each of you in your own way tried to warn me, tried to make me see sense, but I brushed it off. Now I'm paying for it. Selena, we're paying for it too. Because we are the ones who are watching you suffer. Bruce reached out his hand for hers and held it. I know. I'm sorry. If I'm ever able to be Batman again, I promise things will change. Selena, good, because I've been sitting here wondering what I'd do if something happened to you. Barbara wheeled up. The chair isn't fun, old man. Make sure you get back on your feet and extends his concerns. Bruce nodded. I understand and deserve it. Have you spoken to Jean-Paul? Tim, he's upstairs sleeping. Selena, Tim and I are going to be training him to be Batman. He will learn how to act like Batman and talk like Batman for tonight. Bruce, tonight. Newspaper reading, is Batman dead? Then Alfred paraphrased the story. Essentially, sir, after people saw Batman beaten and carried away, they began to wonder if he was dead. Bane has spread the word that he defeated Batman once and for all. Selena, people need to believe he is still at large, so we are pushing things so Batman can be seen in public. Bruce nodded. However, once we do that, Bane may return to make sense of what happened. From the shadows a new voice came. They figured that also. It was Superman. Oracle contacted the League and we agreed to have the matter watched. Bruce, who? I don't want just anyone going up against Bane. He's more dangerous than ever. Superman agreed, so I've asked John to do it and he was happy to accept. John Jones, the Martian Manhunter. John has the ability to turn invisible, phase through solid objects, shape-shift and much more. He would be more than a match for Bane should he return. For this, Bruce approved. Bruce, very well, Superman, it's good to see you're still with us. Gave us all a scare. Bruce, I'm not easy to get rid of. Superman, a good thing too. Get some rest and let us know if you need anything. Bruce nodded and Superman flew off. That night, as planned, while Bruce left, Jean-Paul put in an appearance as Batman. He appeared to Commissioner Gordon, who was pleased to see him. Alongside Catwoman and Robin, they took down more escaped inmates from Arkham. Many people saw Batman and that he was unharmed. When the news spoke to witnesses, Bane's thugs mocked their boss Joey. I broke the bet, he says. I defeated the Batman, he says. What a bunch of bull. He was grabbed from behind the neck by Bane. Bane, I did defeat him by breaking him. Whoever this is, it's not the real Batman. It's some imposter designed to trick everyone. He's still around. Joey, yes, Bane, anything you say. Bane then proceeded to whisk Joey's head until his neck snapped. Bane, remove his body and get back to work. If anyone questions me again, they will die slowly. Bane wasn't fooled by this new Batman. He felt the bones and Wayne's back break. But those details are for his own knowledge alone. The way he saw it, if you're smart enough to figure out who Batman is, then you deserve to know. For who couldn't figure it out for themselves didn't deserve to know. However, not everyone would believe him, so he would have to break this new Batman also. He would kill everyone about Batman, if he had to. He had come this far, he wasn't going to let everything he worked for slip away easily. In the days to come, it was released in the news that billionaire Bruce Wayne was in a car accident. Another driver hit him and ran. There were no traces in the other car that was found abandoned. Traces of alcohol drinking were found, but there was no license plate or anything that could identify who had hit him. He was treated by Dr. Tompkins, who was a friend of Thomas Wayne, Bruce's father. Bruce refused to go to a hospital and had everything brought to the manor. The only statement Bruce would make is that he is well and healing. He wishes to stay home and free up the beds at the hospital for those who need them more than himself. Selena over time began to struggle, not with caring for Bruce. That was easy. She couldn't stop the feeling he got when she thought of losing him. Who would be without Bruce? Was she only Selena so long as Bruce lived? Would she slip back into Joker and an all-out Joker war occur? She hoped not, but at the same time she couldn't help thinking about it. Alone, who is she? Selena would have to find that out, but not now. Not while Bruce was hurt. She couldn't do what she had to do while he was like this, but she would make plans for when the time was right. Jean Paul was a natural. He had been trained in combat for years, so he was a match for any Batman foe. He wasn't quite the detective Bruce was, but Tim more than made up for that. It felt weird stepping into the role of Batman, but it was better than Azrael. As weeks passed, Jean Paul came to be comfortable in the Batsuit. As he was out with Robin and Catwoman, they were ambushed by Bane. He had 6 men with him. Bane, I have come for you, Batfake. I know who Batman is under the cowl, and I broke him. You are not broke yet, Batman. You failed last time and you'll fail again. Bane, even your voice is remarkably close. You are an impressive stand-in, but that is what you are, a stand-in. You lot take Robin and Catwoman. This bat is mine. Bane launches himself at Jean Paul but misses him, as Jean Paul moves quickly. He knows what Bane did to Bruce, and he would not allow himself to suffer the same fate. Jean Paul leaped onto Bane's back and began to choke him out. He knows he isn't strong enough to hurt Bane, but maybe he can knock him out. Bane grabbed at Jean Paul's hands and arm to pull him off, but they were locked under Bane's chin. Bane then spotted a wall and rammed into it to squish Jean Paul. However, in the nick of time, he saw the wall behind him and jumped away. When the dust settled, he saw all his men down, with Catwoman and Robin standing with their fake Batman. Bane, how long do you think you can fool everyone? At some point this fake Batman will slip up and then there will be trouble. Batman, then let's settle this, the 3 of us against you in 1 week. Bane, 1 week after you hope to gain the upper hand somehow. You think you have a plan to level the playing field. Very well. Consider me intrigued and accept your challenge. On the way back to the cave, Robin and Catwoman questioned him about this challenge and what he was thinking. Jean Paul, Bane is far stronger than he was on the old Venom. The 3 of us, as we are, will not stop him. We need an edge. Robin, what kind of edge? Jean Paul, how much do you know about the suit of Azrael? Robin, it's mechanized and heavenly armored. Wait. Jean Paul, that's right. I want to blend Batman with Azrael's armor. I still have my suit just before leaving the order. Catwoman, do you think a week will be enough time? Jean Paul, more than enough. This will work, I know it. We can take down Bane, take his venom from him and lock him away in Blackgate Prison.